All right. Well, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us and attending our California Energy Smart Homes Advanced Technology Bonuses webinar. I'm Melinda Dinnan. I'm the marketing manager for this program, and I'm excited to have you join us today. Next slide. All right. For those of you who haven't had an opportunity to participate in a Zoom webinar, just a few helpful hints. Please enter your questions in the Q&A window. We will answer questions at the end, or at least as many as we are able, and we can follow up on email if we are not able to get to all of your questions. If you would like to have closed captions, you can select that show captions icon and it will include the text from voice to text. We are also recording this webinar, so we will be able to share the recording and a PDF of the slides later this week. It will be on the resources page of our Energy Smart Homes website. Next slide. All right, so for those who are not familiar with the California Energy Smart Homes program, it is a residential new construction and alterations program that provides incentives to adopt advanced energy measures and support the transition to all electric new construction here in California. I've included some of the eligibility requirements to participate in the program. We do also have some prerequisites that we can cover at the end of the program, but the most important thing to understand here is that the projects need to be located in one of the 3 IOU territories demonstrated here, from PG&E, Southern California Edison, or San Diego Gas and Electric, and pay the public purpose program charge. It's also the PPP charge. So I'm going to launch a quick poll so we get an idea who's joining us today, and then we will pass it over to our speaker. Super. Well, it looks like we've got a lot of equipment manufacturers and a few property owners and builder and developers. So super. Thank you for contributing to the poll. And here we go.
Thank you for the introduction, Melinda. Appreciate you introducing the program and what we're all here for today. I'm Parker Wall. I'll be introducing the advanced technology bonuses we're unveiling today in this webinar. We are currently in the middle of the introduction section of our agenda, and we'll go quickly through what is an advanced technology bonus, touch on the existing advanced technology bonus, which is essential heat pump water heater, and then unveil the 2024 advanced technology bonuses that are being added to the Energy Smart Homes program. Hoping to save some time for the end for questions. If you have any questions along the way, please ask them in the Q&A or chat. I believe the Q&A is the right place to ask questions. And Melinda will queue up the ones at the end for me to answer that we can address in meeting here. Any ones that are specific to you and your business or the work you do, and maybe a little bit outside of either the time constraints or the ability we have in this webinar today, please still ask them. We are interested in hearing them, and we will do our best to follow up with you after and make sure there's no questions dangling at the end. So again, ask questions in the Q&A or type anything into the chat and we can have a conversation in the background. But here's our agenda. Thank you for attending. As I said before, I am Parker Wall, project engineer with TRC. I have a mechanical engineering background. I am currently the Residential Programs Technical Research and Analysis Manager for TRC, Energy Smart Homes, and other R&C programs here. I've been with TRC for over 3 years now in the energy efficiency industry in New York and as well as California. Very familiar with heat pumps, so if you have any heat pump related questions, please feel free to reach out to me. There's also an email that we will share at the end that is Energy Smart Homes, the Energy Smart Homes program email. If you have program specific questions that come up after this webinar, please reach out to that email. I'm here if you have anything specific for me and my work. You feel free to reach out to me there, but please go through the program if you have anything related to Energy Smart Homes. Okay, without further ado, what is an advanced technology bonus? Advanced technology bonuses are energy efficiency measures that are proven technologies but not widely adopted in California. We at Energy Smart Homes would like to see these installed throughout the state. We are looking to monitor some of these systems and pieces of equipment, and hoping that monitoring can help advance code and help advance the adoption of these advanced technologies, these advanced energy efficiency measures. We're looking to collect some data, collect some data, and run some analysis on the collected data to use that data for code advancement and hopefully future adoption of these systems. So there are a lot of systems that a lot of us here already work with today, looking to further the adoption of these systems in California. So the more that we can get some good data on them and prove that they are energy efficient and saving time or energy and money, the more likely we can get these adopted into California Energy Code or programs in the future. We will touch on what is required for monitoring and the data collection in a little. So please hold your questions on that until we get to those slides. The existing advanced technology bonus that is currently in the program and not new unveiled today is central heat pump water heaters. There is a design incentive, an installation incentive, and then a monitoring incentive for participating sites. We've seen a handful of systems apply for both the design and installation incentives, as well as a few apply for only one or the other. You don't have to submit a design or apply for a design incentive in order to apply for an installation incentive, and vice versa there. If you are too late in the process to apply for a design incentive, but you still are looking to claim an installation incentive and participate in the program, you can do so. And if you apply for a design incentive, go through a design process and realize that it's not a viable option, or maybe the project changes, we are not requiring that you install something just because you were given the design incentive. And then the monitoring incentive is for participating sites only. So if you are selected, if this site is installed and then selected for monitoring, we'll go through the monitoring process on the next couple slides, but they are also available for an extra monitoring incentive. 2024 additional advanced technology bonuses. Here are the new advanced technology bonuses we are unveiling in this webinar today. These technologies will be eligible for incentives within the Energy Smart Homes program from here forward. A program, in order to be eligible for these advanced technology bonuses, must be enrolled in the Energy Smart Homes program to begin with, and then claim these as additional incentives on top of the incentives that are already given within the program. You will notice that some of these are closely related. For example, a project installing a variable capacity heat pump which uses a low GWP refrigerant and has no electric resistance can apply for all three incentives and stack those incentives into one, and apply those for all the dwelling units served by that system. So if you have a multifamily building with multiple dwelling units, you can apply for a variable capacity heat pump using low GWP with no electric resistance, stack those on top of it, and then apply for incentives for all the dwelling units that you're installing these pieces of equipment. Advanced technology bonuses for new construction. These are the incentives available. You can see that they're mostly aligned between single family and multifamily because they're installed by dwelling unit. So single family would be a full home, multifamily would be a dwelling unit or a piece of equipment. They differ between multifamily and single family for the advanced technology bonuses that affect whole building or our whole building systems. So like your central heat pump water heaters, obviously not eligible for a single family, as that's not possible. And then you get into verified ACCA technical manuals, is more of a whole building approach for multifamily, so that $4,500 for plan type, and then the single family is $400 per residence. Here are the whole building electrification alteration bonuses, advanced technology bonuses. They're aligned for the advanced technology bonuses that are eligible for incentives for alterations. They differ for the advanced technology bonuses that are not applicable to alterations. So for the single family, we're not the central heat pump water heater advanced technology bonuses cannot apply to single family. For the others, they are aligned for alterations. And what is required for monitoring? So the monitoring equipment is not going to be invasive. The monitoring incentive is only paid if the site is selected for monitoring and the project completes and signs a participation agreement. So not every project that submits for, applies for, and is accepted as an advanced technology bonus project will be monitored. These sites will be combed through and selected. Only the ones that we are interested in monitoring will be selected. If selected for monitoring, a PG&E or a third-party contractor will be put in contact with the site owner. The participation agreement will be signed by the occupant or owner, whoever will be making the actual contact, letting them into the residence or space, and doing it that way. The third-party contractor will visit the site to assess and install the monitoring equipment. Again, the monitoring equipment will not be invasive. The monitoring equipment is planned to be an individual circuit monitor for most systems, or a smart panel if a smart panel is already installed. For those that the water consumption is an important monitoring piece, an ultrasonic water consumption monitors or monitoring system will be installed. Again, central heat pump water heaters or heat pump pool and spa heaters are most likely what is going to be affected there. The monitoring team is looking to assess the energy and water consumption used on the site. They're not looking to overstep their bounds and influence the system or the homeowner's behaviors unless they notice a critical error in their monitoring. Say they're monitoring a central heat pump water heater and they notice that the electric resistance is on 24/7 and it's not using the actual heat pump side. They might bring that up to the building owner and say, hey, your system is not working correctly. We noticed this trend and suggest that your maintenance team address that issue. But they're not looking to affect everyday operation of these systems. They're just looking to sit back and quietly monitor what's happening, how they're being used, and the actual consumptions. These monitoring incentives are available for existing properties only, alterations only. So we're not looking to monitor new construction at this point. We're just looking to monitor alterations. Here are the monitoring incentives and the monitoring and who they are paid for. The monitoring incentives vary by how much time and effort it is going to take to actually participate in the monitoring. $400 will be paid to the occupant for variable capacity heat pumps without electric resistance, integrated heat pump space and water heating, low GWP heat pumps that are installed in individual dwelling units. This is to cover the occupants' time and effort of communicating with monitoring staff and letting them into the space, participating in a survey at the beginning or end of the process. And then the ones paid to the owner are the ones for the central systems that the monitoring team will be communicating directly with the owner. We are focusing monitoring efforts on alterations projects and will not be addressing new construction unless the Energy Smart Homes program is working directly with the owner. And again, the incentive is paid to the person that will be communicating and hosting the implementation staff. In most cases, that will be the occupant of the building. However, in some, the multifamily owner will be collecting, or the maintenance staff will be collecting the incentive for the installation of monitoring equipment. And if you have any questions on that, please reach out to us. We're happy to provide some clarification. Now we get into the advanced technology bonuses themselves. We will lead off with the variable capacity heat pump, VCHP. Variable capacity heat pumps are heat pumps that with inverters that modulate their output to meet the loads demanded. We are that is our definition for the Energy Smart Homes program. Variable capacity heat pump requires an inverter. I am aware of two-stage, multi-stage systems, but that's not what we're interested in monitoring. We're interested in monitoring inverter-driven heat pumps. Variable capacity heat pumps typically result in efficiency, comfort, and dehumidification increases, and that leads to better energy consumption or lower energy consumption, and a more satisfied customer. You can see that graph on the left is just a quick demonstration of what the typical interior temperature is when you're running a inverter type heat pump versus a non-inverter type heat pump. Please don't take that too seriously. It's not very analytical, but just a general graphic representation. What is eligible for a variable capacity heat pump? Again, they are inverter-driven systems. The sites eligible for variable capacity heat pumps are alterations or new construction. The participant at those sites must provide spec sheets, HRI sheet showing installed equipment when applicable for air source heat pumps, paid invoices, and if you're a new construction site, must be a completed CF2R form. It's not required for alterations, as it's not required for alterations of Title 24. The equipment eligibility, all installed heat pumps must meet the criteria listed here. The CEE Tier 1 efficiency ratings are important for the variable capacity heat pumps, and they are seen here. If you have questions on these, please reach out. We're happy to clarify. And this is for applicable systems. So if it's an air-to-air system, there must be these requirements. If it is a variable capacity that does not have SEER, ER2, or HSPF2 ratings, please reach out. We're happy to clarify more on what we're looking for there. But not just air-to-air heat pumps here. We're looking for all variable capacity heat pumps to be applied. So, and also the installation must meet the Title 24 Energy Code, as is true for all advanced technology bonuses. Submission and monitoring here. These are the submission requirements for alterations. You must submit a form stating the existing system and any recent upgrades. The size of the conditioned area, square feet, spec sheets, HRI sheet showing the indoor and outdoor model numbers of the units installed, paid invoices, and then for new construction, that CF2R form. The expected monitoring for a variable capacity heat pump is an individual circuit monitor that will monitor the energy used by this system alone. It won't be monitoring the entire energy used by the entire home or any other systems within the building unless they're installing other advanced technology bonuses, and we are also looking to monitor those. But the individual circuit monitor is just looking to monitor the actual use, time of use, and amount of use of these systems. Our second advanced technology bonus we'll be going over today is heat pumps without electric resistance. These are air source or heat pump water heaters, so heating or water heating that do not have electric resistance elements or strip heating. Again, or briefly, if a whole home system is composed of multiple compressors, if there are multiple mini splits or maybe a ducted system downstairs and ductless system upstairs, the entire system must be electric resistance free in order to qualify for this advanced technology bonus. If the ductless systems upstairs do not have strip heating, but the ducted system downstairs does have strip heating, then that does not qualify for being a heat pump without electric resistance. These resistance elements are typically used to supplement the heat pump in warming the space or provide heat during defrost cycles. If it's a heat pump water heater, it's used during periods of high demand when maybe the water stored in the tank is low and the heat pump is struggling to keep up with the load itself. Site eligibility. This advanced technology bonus is eligible for alterations and new construction. The participant must provide spec sheets and paid invoices. If it is a space heating and conditioning, they must provide manual J load calculations just to ensure that they are doing the actual load calculation to make sure that this system will keep up with the heating needs of the space without any kind of supplemental or electric resistance heating. Equipment eligibility. Air source heat pumps must be able to meet the manual J heating design load. Again, we're looking to collect the manual J on this advanced technology bonus, just to ensure that the contractor, the installing person, is doing the proper calculations to make sure that their system does meet the design load and does not leave the occupant cold on the coldest days of the year. Heat pump water heaters must be sized to the domestic hot water load of the home, and these pieces of equipment must meet the CEE Tier 1 efficiency ratings when applicable. So they must meet the SEER, EAR, and HSPF 2, and then the UEF for water heating. Combi systems can be eligible if they can legally be installed in California. I know that combi systems do not typically conform to one type of efficiency rating. As that changes and as efficiency ratings are developed for combi systems, we will add those to the program, but for now, we are only requiring that they can legally be installed in California. Submission and monitoring for this. Alterations, you must submit a form stating the existing system and any recent upgrades, as well as the size of the home, specifically the condition area there. The spec sheet, paid invoices, and then again for space heating and conditioning, the manual J load calculations showing that the equipment will meet the manual J heating design load, as well as an AHRI sheet showing outdoor and indoor model numbers, and then for new construction, a CF2R form, if applicable. Expected monitoring for these systems is an individual circuit monitor, again, as with the variable capacity heat pump. Our next advanced technology bonus is integrated space and water heating systems, also known as combi heat pumps, combi systems, combi air to water, and numerous other names. For this advanced technology bonus, we are calling them integrated space and water heating. They're combined hydronic systems that use a single air to water heat pump. That is what we're requiring, a single air to water heat pump as the primary source for both space heating and water heating. They can provide heating to the space, and they can also provide domestic hot water. They can shift the peak demand times by using the domestic hot water as thermal storage. They're also, another benefit of them is they can install in homes with smaller panel space, because you're only installing one heat pump to do two things. Typically, you'll need less panel space, and if there's an altered home that is low on panel space, this system might be a good solution for them. All right. They can be installed in alterations or new construction, and the participant must provide spec sheets and paid invoices. The eligibility, again, must use a single variable speed air-to-water heat pump as the primary source for both space and water heating. We are going to allow a secondary heat pump that can be used to add cooling to the system for those systems that are set up for just heating and water heating. We're allowing a secondary heat pump that can be used to add cooling. The equipment must be compliant with California Energy and Mechanical Code. Submission for these projects, for these advanced technology bonus, for alterations, they must submit a form stating the existing system and any recent upgrades, as well as the size of the home or condition area in square feet. The spec sheets for the heat pump, the water tanks, and heating and cooling systems. We need all of the spec sheets and all the information that comprises the system. And then the paid invoices, as well as the heating distribution type and the cooling distribution type. So interested in identifying which systems are using ducted, ductless, radiant, or maybe a secondary heat pump to add cooling to the system. Expected monitoring for this will be an individual circuit monitor that will monitor the energy consumption and time of use of these systems. Next, advanced technology bonus we're going over today is the heat pump, pool, or spa heater. An air to water heat pump that heats a pool or spa. Pretty self-explanatory on this one. Not going to get too in the weeds in the actual explanation. I hope everyone here can get that out of just the name. Site eligibility can be eligible for alterations or new construction. The participant must provide spec sheets and paid invoices. The pool or spa must have a cover. This is for Title 24 Energy Code. And the site must be fully electrified with zero natural gas consumption. That means that if these heat pump, pool, or spa heaters are going into like a neighborhood clubhouse, then that neighborhood clubhouse and the neighborhood must have zero natural gas consumption. It must be fully electrified. Equipment eligibility, the heat pump, pool, and spa heater must have a minimum coefficient of performance of 4.0. 4.0 and above are eligible here. It must have no electric resistance. Single heat pump systems only. We are allowing one for a pool and then one for a spa, so a total of two if you have a pool and a spa. But multiple compressor systems to heat one body of water are not allowed due to noise level and cost. The pool or spa must have a cover per that section of Title 24, and a picture of that cover must be submitted in the submission of this project. There, for alterations of form showing the existing system and recent upgrades, and a spec sheet, paid invoices, and then information on the size of pool or spa in gallons, as well as a picture of that pool or spa cover. The expected monitoring for this is an individual circuit monitor, although a water consumption monitor might be added if the system, if it's worth adding to the system. Next, we have a heat pump with low GWP refrigerants. Heat pump, space heating, or domestic hot water using a refrigerant that is with a GWP less than 750. The industry is shifting to refrigerants with global warming potential under 750. That 750, if any of us are familiar with 700, the 750 comes from California Air Resource Board. The 700 ruling comes from the DOE, the EPA, and the EPA and CARB agree on being under 750. The 700 and 750 does not really make a difference when selecting the refrigerants. There's not many between those two numbers, and the ones that most of industry are switching to are under that 700 and therefore under 750. If you were not familiar with what global warming potential is, or GWP, GWP is the measure of how much energy the emissions of 1 ton of gas will absorb over a given period compared to carbon dioxide. So the larger the GWP, the more harmful the gas is to the environment in global warming. You take what is the current refrigerant that is widely used, R410A, has a GWP of 2090, and that means that it's 2,090 times the amount of global warming attributed to the same amount of that gas as is attributed to carbon dioxide. So we are getting down to most under 700 for all systems. Air to air is most likely going to be R454B, which has a global warming potential of 466, or R32, which has a global warming potential of 675. If you are installing air to water or work with air to water systems, they vary by the type of system, as a lot of them are only water infiltrating the building and no refrigerant infiltrating the building. So they have some different safety requirements on that. Can use some more flammable refrigerants that have much lower GWPs than those. So the refrigerants used in air to water systems vary more than refrigerants used in air to air systems. Heat pump with low GWP refrigerant site eligibility, alterations or new construction, and the participant must provide spec sheets and paid invoices. Nothing new here. The equipment eligibility must be a heat pump with a refrigerant lower than 750. Installations must follow the applicable safety codes of the 2024 IMC Chapter 11 or ASHRAE Standard 15. Submission and monitoring requirements. Alterations must submit a form stating the existing system and any recent upgrades, as well as the size of the conditioned area of the home. Spec sheets for all pieces of equipment installed, paid invoices, and for the air source heat pumps, they must submit an AHRI sheet showing the outdoor and indoor model numbers of the equipment installed. Inspected monitoring for these systems is an individual circuit monitor. We now move to advanced technology bonuses without monitoring. So we have two, the previous ones are monitoring eligible if selected, and these next two we're going to discuss are not monitoring eligible. So they do not have a monitoring incentive associated with them. Verified ACA technical manuals. Projects submitting copies of ACA Manual S, ACA Manual D, and ACA Manual, ACA Manual J, Manual S, and Manual D are eligible for this advanced technology bonus. ACA, if you're unfamiliar, is the Air Conditioning Contractors of America. They publish these residential technical manuals to ensure proper sizing and design of HVAC systems. Manual J is residential load calculation. Manual S is residential equipment selection. ACA Manual D is residential duct design. You will notice that we've already referred to ACA Manual J when trying to size a heat pump. So that would be ACA, that would be the residential load calculation for that home. Is important when sizing a heat pump. All three of these are important when sizing heat pumps and HVAC equipment. Site eligibility for ACA technical manuals are new construction only. We're not currently going to be collecting these for alterations. If that changes in the future, we will let everyone know, but it's currently planned for new construction only. Completed ACA Manual J, S, and D that match the site conditions. It means we're looking for accurate ASHRAE or other design temperatures for the area. We're not looking for things that were installed in California and designed for somewhere else. These should match the site conditions of the buildings being built, whether it's single family or multifamily. Calculations must be prepared by individuals meeting one of the following: either a mechanical engineer, the contractor responsible for the installing the equipment, or someone qualified to do so in accordance with Division 3 of the Business and Professions Code of the State of California. These calculations can be completed with an ACA approved software. I have a link there for myself. If you are to look on ACA's site, they have a list of ACA approved softwares that are typically pretty easy to use, a little easier to do this than to do this on your own, and are either a pay-per-use or a pay-per-subscription, depending on how often you are installing this or conducting these calculations. Submission requirements, they must submit a Manual J, Manual S, and Manual D documentation for if single family, each single family plan type, and multifamily, each residential plan, each residential plan for. A Manual J, Manual S, and Manual D must be submitted. If a system is completely ductless, then Manual D is fairly not required. Well, it's fairly useless. So it is not required if it's a completely ductless system, as it does not have ducts, and therefore Manual D is basically obsolete. Technical manuals can be completed by, again, an ACA approved software. Passive House certification, our last advanced technology bonus of the day. Passive House certification, if you are unfamiliar, is completed by either Passive House Institute or the Passive House Institute US, PHI or PHI US. Certification requires advanced energy efficiency and comfort standards are met, and quality control is conducted by the Passive House Institute or Passive House Institute US. This is new construction only eligible, and we're looking to compare how well these homes meet the standards of Passive House versus some other energy efficiency requirements we have. Again, eligible for new construction only. Participant must provide all of the Passive House documentation and proof of certification. So the submission requirements are a copy of the Passive House certificate from FIAS, or the copy and the copy of the Passive House submission packet. Here is a summary of the advanced technology bonuses that we covered today, from variable capacity heat pump all the way down to the existing central heat pump water heater. Please feel free, we'll reference this in our questions, but please feel free to take a quick pick of this. Melinda will also be sending out fact sheets, and they are hosted on the Energy Smart Homes website, and the handbook will also receive an update. After the webinar, we will be sending out a recording so anybody can refer to what we spoke about today. But without further ado, let's get into some questions if we have any.
All right, we do have questions. So our first question is, how do we know if we have an inverter in our heat pump?
Good question. Refer to the manufacturer specifications. If you have questions about if your equipment is meeting, if your equipment is inverter driven or multi-stage, you can always reach out to your manufacturer or distributor. They should have some information on which heat pumps are eligible and which heat pumps have inverters in them. If they aren't responsive, please reach out to us and we're happy to specify. I'm happy to specify some specific equipment. But your manufacturer should have that information on either their spec sheet or their extended performance specs.
Super, great. Our next question is about monitoring devices, and will the program pay for the monitoring devices?
Yes, so the monitoring devices are going to be individual circuit monitors or ultrasonic water consumption devices that are paid for and installed by the implementation team on that staff. And then they can connect the homeowner or building owner, if interested, into the data consumption into the data analysis portal, and have them be able to access their own data and look at it at real time. And then once the monitoring period of 9 to 12 months is up, and they will no longer be monitoring the devices, the equipment, but they will leave the monitoring equipment in place so that way that the occupant or building owner can continue to monitor their own data and they don't have to pay for that. That is just an added perk of participating in the monitoring.
That's great. That way folks can still watch their monitoring and their energy consumption. The next question is on owner paid incentives. Are those only available for the property owner, or could the property management company receive those incentives?
That is a good question. I know that we have a split currently plan to give a portion of that $5,000 of monitoring incentive to the actual maintenance staff themselves for taking the extra time out of their busy schedules. So if the building maintenance staff or the building property manager is the one doing a lot of the communication, that's something that they will probably need to clear up with the building owner themselves, because the building owner would most likely be the one giving permission. But I don't think we have specific guidelines on that boundary quite yet.
Great, got it. We can share that when we learn it. Back to monitoring. Our question is what are the odds? What are the odds my system will be chosen for monitoring? What are they looking for?
Good question. And it varies from advanced technology bonus to advanced technology bonus. They're going to be looking for sites that fit their overall interests. And that might change, as I said, for advanced technology bonus, but it might change by region, or the number that we get submitted in certain areas and the number of equipment we get submitted and project we get submitted by advanced technology bonus. So I don't really have a good answer for that. But it varies by region and project and the actual advanced technology bonus itself.
Do you think codes and standards will have any influence over that as well? Maybe they're looking for different economic areas or different climate zones?
It might. I don't want to speak too much on their behalf, but I do know that they're looking to get a variety of projects to represent kind of the whole scale of California, and then also the lower some energy equity areas that we're looking to address. So I don't have a great answer on that, and it also depends on how many apply and how many are actually installed. Right. So the more that are installed, obviously the more we're going to monitor and try to monitor, but it might be a lower percentage if we only get 10 low GWP heat pumps. We'll probably monitor a higher percentage of those than if we get 1,000 variable capacity heat pumps.
Good point. Okay, the next question is product specific, and if this is too specific, we can answer it offline. But the question is, does this mean the Rheem Hybrid ProTerra doesn't qualify because it's both heat pump and electric resistance?
Good question. Hybrid water heaters qualify under the actual Energy Smart Homes program, so they're eligible for the electrification Energy Smart Homes incentives. They would not be eligible for the no electric resistance incentive because they are hybrid, so they have a heat pump and electric resistance. Those heat pumps and heat pump water heaters without electric resistance elements, so they're not hybrid but only heat pump, are eligible for the no electric resistance incentive.
That's great. That was a really good question. I'm sure a lot of our attendees were thinking that. Um, I have one more question I can share, but I encourage everyone to, we have a few more minutes, so continue to include them. The next question is about California Electric Homes Program bonuses. They have, that program is a sister program with this one. It is statewide, has a different funding source, and they're asking about the bonus incentives for solar batteries and smart panels different from this program. And the answer is yes. This is a different program. California Energy Smart Homes is available in the 3 electric IOU territories and can collaborate with or stack with the bonus incentives from California Electric Homes if they are able to qualify for both programs based on where they're located. All right, let's see. Who do we contact with questions related to a specific project? I'm super excited you asked that question. I'm going to go ahead and, there we go. Thank you. There is contact information there on how to reach our team at the California Energy Smart Homes program. Let's connect. Please reach out. We would be happy and excited to answer your questions and potentially enroll your projects for the program. All right. One more. Do the Energy Smart Home bonus incentives apply to both a single family home and an ADU or just the single family home? So could an ADU also capture some of the advanced technology bonus dollars?
Yes, the ADU would apply under the single family if it's within the Energy Smart Homes program and they're installing a variable capacity heat pump. We would be interested in how that variable capacity heat pump operates in there, and we also want to pay the incentive for them to install the advanced technology bonuses that we're looking at.
Super. Well, that's the end of the questions I have today. If you have additional questions, again, please reach out. We've got contact information here on the screen. Thank you to Parker for walking us through these incentives today and to our attendees for joining us.
Great.
We'll hope
Thank
to
you,
connect
Melinda, and
again
thank you
soon.
everyone that attended.
Thank you.